No tengo un celular con diamantes de muchos quilates para impresionar, pero tengo una buena conversación con la que te enamoro más y más. No tengo un jet privado que compré con la Black Card, pero tengo una guagua vieja con la que siempre vamos a pasear. No tengo ropa de Versace, ni musculatura dura para enseñar, pero tengo un par de brazos desnudos que muy fuerte te van a abrazar. No soy como Mariah Carey, con un jacuzzi lleno de agua Evian, pero tengo una chocita en la playa, pa' que te bañes con agüita de mar. Ricky tiene cara linda, Enrique Iglesias los millones y aventura las mansiones, pero yo tengo tu amor. I got your love. Yo tengo tu amor. Yo tengo tu love. Yeah, yo tengo tu amor. I got your love. Yo tengo tu amor. Yo tengo tu love. Yeah. El tiempo vale más que un Rolex y el amor más que un table dance. El amigo más que un peso en el bolsillo como el que tú acabas de gastar. Hablar vale más que un iPhone y más cuando alguien te quiere escuchar. Saber vale más que el diploma como el que tú acabas de marcar. Mi compromiso vale más que el anillo. No hay palabras si no hay corazón. El silencio vale más que un grito cuando el grito no es por amor. Tu mirada vale más que el oro y enseñarte vale más que un tabú. Y aunque pueda tenerlo todo, todo, nunca hay nada si me faltas tú. Chayanne baila bien bonito, Fonsi canta finadito, Juanes los Grammy latinos, pero yo tengo tu amor. I got your love. Yo tengo tu amor. Yo tengo tu love. Yeah, yo tengo tu amor. I got your love. Yo tengo tu amor. Yo tengo tu love. Yeah. Estoy entre los más bellos de People en español, pero tu mirada me dice que soy el Brad Pitt de tu corazón. Lady Gaga está en el Twitter y también en el Facebook, Justin Bieber en YouTube, pero yo tengo tu amor. I got your love. Yo tengo tu amor. Yo tengo tu love. Yeah, yo tengo tu amor. I got your love. Yo tengo tu amor. Yo tengo tu love. Yeah, yo tengo tu amor. I got your love. Yo tengo tu amor. Yo tengo tu love. Yeah, yo tengo tu amor. I got your love. Yo tengo tu amor. Yo tengo tu love. Yeah. Yo tengo tu amor. Tu love, yo tengo tu amor.
Yes, and thank you everyone for giving us this opportunity. Uncle Eric, thank you so much for giving us this slot to present about our 2-week adventure in the Dominican Republic. It's exciting. Okay, so how we're going to do it is we're going to all speak on our own personal experience in the Dominican Republic and how we got into going into this journey and then the journey in itself. And we're outside every day. It was a lot of fun. There was work involved and yeah. So I'll get started and then we'll go through, and then we have a beautiful video that we spent all of yesterday working on. A 4-minute clip, all of yesterday, trying to pull together, and I hope that it perfectly conveys our experience, and I hope that we can inspire you guys. Right. So, yeah. Okay, so I went to the Dominican Republic for the first time in January of 2014, so last year. And I was on a program called Generation Peace Academy. So it's a gap year program that provides high school graduates the opportunity for self-discovery and for a lot of travel. I've been to almost all 50 states fundraising. And it's about self-discovery, developing my life of faith, learning more about this movement that I want to take active involvement in. And the thing is, I didn't really have a spiritual awakening until I went to the Dominican Republic, which was in January and February of this year-long program. And I started in September. And I think that is partially why I have developed such a strong affinity for the Dominican Republic as a country in itself, is because I've had such a beautiful and profound first experience there. So when I went there, I was going through my struggles, typical 18, 19-year-old self, and I was going through my struggles, and I had a lot of questions. I didn't even know what these questions were, but I was receiving answers. I was receiving answers in my a little over 3 weeks that I spent with GPA as a program over there doing service work, being involved with 2 UC communities in Santo Domingo and Santiago, 2 of their capital cities, and being involved with the blessed children over there, the second generation, and being involved with my fellow GPAs that are going through the same struggles as me, helped me kind of recognize God in my everyday life. And yeah, I arrived there my first day, and I was overcome with this really strong sense that I was returning home. And it was something that I had never experienced before in my life. I have been to multiple countries, I have been to multiple states, I have visited multiple places, and never such a strong feeling has overcome me as that feeling of returning home. It was weird, don't think I'm crazy, but I felt like I knew where I was going. Even entering the UC Church Center in Santo Domingo, I kind of knew the place. I knew where I was walking in the building. It's a pretty big building. And it was just a very interesting feeling, and I just immediately developed this affinity for the community, and I kind of imprinted on it, and I knew that there was something profound for me in the future, that my stay over there wasn't going to last just those 3 weeks. It was going to transcend past GPA, and it would continue on. So with that said, after my really profound experience with GPA, I left, and I just kept saying, I need to return. This is it. And the Dominican Republic has been selected by True Mother as one of the 20 nations for the Vision 2020 project. You guys know about that? So it's 20 nations that True Mother wants basically all nations in the world to kind of focus their attention on until the year 2020. And even though my family was assigned a different country, I don't care. Because I have developed this strong affinity for the Dominican Republic, and I have kind of imprinted on, and I feel like a strong root within that country, and it's a place that I want to continue investing into. And so with that said, I left GPA and I graduated. I'm in college now. Went through my, this past year of university. And kind of all throughout the year, there was just something pulling me, in my heart. Something just tugging me, Sonny, go back, just go back, go back, go back. And I couldn't explain it. It was just a tug, some magnetic force within me, drawing me back. And I was just like, God, why do you want me to return? I know I had a beautiful experience, but all of my friends are skeptical, of me going back. They're like, what are you going to do there? Sonny, you were in a structured environment. What are you going to do there when you're not in a structured environment? What are you going to do when you don't speak the language? Because I don't speak Spanish. What are you going to do when you don't have your friends? Why do you want to go back? And I was like, I don't know. There's something tugging me, and there's something telling me to go there. And so basically, around October of last year, I approached these 2 girls, and I was like, hey, I don't know how, I don't know why, but I want to go to the Dominican Republic, and I want you guys to come with me. It's going to be an open experience, okay? And if you guys want to come, okay. So I give them time to think about it, and they're over the months, as they progress, they're okay, I kind of have the money for it. I have the time for it. Okay, let's do this. And then on top of that, Sasha, my beautiful friend over here, I had a very beautiful conversation, first time talking to her in months. I was like, Sasha, by the way, I'm leaving for the Dominican Republic in, in about 3 months, 4 months. Do you want to come with me? She's like, yeah. So she just hopped on that after 2 hours of me talking to her for the first time in years. And she was like, yeah, I'll spring on it, I'll come. And so that's how all 4 of us ended up going on this crazy adventure in the Dominican Republic. I had no idea what our intention was. I knew I wanted to do service work. I knew I wanted to reconnect with the BCs. I knew I wanted to travel, explore, have fun, go to beaches, get tan, do all that stuff. And I just knew that I had to go back. So that's the preliminary, like that's the prologue to our experience. And I'll talk about my experience when I'm there, but I'm gonna let these girls talk about what it was like there. You want this one? Are you good?
Oh,
yeah, you're gonna start. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess my experience was interesting because we called it a service project when we were setting this up, and we're like, yeah, the first week we're just gonna go there and we're gonna work and we're gonna offer up our time and everything. That didn't happen. So we went there, and basically Sunny's a planner, so she's been trying to plan out where we would be, where we'd go, and so she's talking to the church leader there, and he was just like, you know, just come over here. We'll give you something to do when you get over here. Just come. Just bring yourself. And so we got there, and we didn't really see him.
No.
And so they basically had us doing house chores the whole time. And we swept the roof a few times. Yeah, and then one day they finally buckled because Sunny's just like, we came here to do something. Like, give us something to do. And so we went to go plant trees. But basically, like, the brothers there, they just took us up on this trip where, it was a trip. I mean, we didn't really work very much. It was basically a day trip where we spent half an hour planting trees. But for me, that was like really weird, because usually like when we go into these, this kind of environment, like especially like camp or a workshop or a service or something, there's always something we're trying to accomplish or some physical work that we're going to do. But we didn't do that. And I think, though, that is what was supposed to happen. Because if we had gone in there working, a lot of us are like really single-minded to the task. And so we would have put blinders on. And we wouldn't have been able to see a lot of like community and people who were there. And what we were receiving from them, which we can talk about later in this. But yeah, we received a lot of love and a lot of individual attention that we don't receive from like even this community or the outside world. So that was really nice to witness and to try and give back later. That was my experience.
Right.
I need this. It was small. So I think what stood out to me the most was just everybody's kindness, and everyone's like trying to do their best to make us comfortable and have fun. And even though they had a busy life, they still went out of their way to hang out with us. Like one of our friends we made, Christopher, he had finals week, so he was very busy, but he still went out of his way to come with us on a trip because he wanted to guide us. He knew Spanish. And we didn't know how to speak to anyone. We would have been so lost without him. And he spoke Italian to our host. We stayed at a house, so it was really helpful. And I don't know what we would have done without him. We would have been so lost. And so he took 2 days off from studying for us. And it's his senior year, so it's a big deal.
Yeah.
So it was just very kind, and they really live for the sake of others. And another example is that, like, the boys hate shopping. We took hours shopping, and they came, and even though they looked so bored, they came to us. And yeah, they looked really bored the whole time. But it was really sweet of them. And just everyone inspired me to live for the sake of others more in my daily life, or trying to, at least a little bit. Yeah, they're really nice people. Yeah.
I guess I'll use the mic too. All right, for me, it was my first time going to a foreign country that I didn't speak the language of. I've been to Japan or Korea, and I can speak both languages, so I know what they're saying. But going to the Dominican Republic, everyone was speaking a language I didn't understand. And I'm like, oh my gosh. They're saying all these words, and I'm like, yeah. I went to study for help. Spanish is very limited. So we were lost most of the time. I don't know how we survived. there was also Japanese missionaries there, and I just realized or noticed that carp is really active in that country. But anyways, there's this one brother named Jacob, and he's very, very kind. I think he's like kind of a leader, carp leader there, and he was a really busy person. He did carp, he was a busy college student, and I don't know, he was doing a lot of things. Like, he'd be running around everywhere. But I was so grateful that he spent time to like drive us to places, because he said it's dangerous if we go alone. And like, I don't know, he spent a lot of time, like, if we needed help, he was always there. And I don't know how, I swear, he flies around everywhere. He's like Superman. I don't know, he's in one place for a second and then he's gone, and then he comes back when we need him. So it was really nice, and he would always like live for the sake of others. I never heard him complain a single word ever, and it just makes me realize how the country is kind of poor, and it's just their life of faith is so incredible, and I kind of want to live out my life like that. Like, they taught me a lot. And I think one thing that I'm really grateful of is I can go to some foreign country I've never heard of the Dominica Republic before she told me. And I can go to that kind of random island and then see a second generation, like, church members, people I share a faith with. And like, we can like totally bond right away because we have something in common. And just like the relationship I can make with them because of this movement makes me really grateful that I was born into this movement, and that I have people that would like look after me if I go to like certain countries. So I'm really grateful for that. And I don't know, that's all I have to say.
I spent 3 weeks there last year, right? And so I'm kind of over the culture shock that comes with being in a third world country or a developing country. But I could definitely see the shock on these 3 girls' faces. Just driving through the streets, driving in Wawas, which is public transport. We have 25 people jammed into one van, going through the crazy, chaotic, crowded streets of Santo Domingo. And just kind of seeing their experience for the first time, them opening their eyes to this third world that you haven't really experienced here in America. It was like a reminder to me of how grateful I am, like Kinasa said. And like, yeah, like we're so blessed here in America, and I'm given so much, and I have so many liberties when it comes to like external things. But returning to the Dominican Republic, I realized how much I am actually lacking in terms of searching for the internal. Because, you know, the BCs, their life of faith and their devotion to this movement and to the progression of, you know, the kingdom of heaven on earth, like it's being established, like it's such a strong drive. There's such a strong drive from within them. And I realized that that's something that, like, I'm honestly lacking right now. Because I make excuses for myself, and I think that that's just us in general. We find excuses for why we're so busy, why I'm stuck in college. I'm in university, I'm working, I'm teaching, I'm doing these things like, oh, I don't have time to wake up early in the morning. I don't have time to go to events. I don't have time to be involved, to continue with carp. I don't have time to do all these things, but they don't make excuses. They don't make excuses for not connecting to God. And I didn't feel like ashamed of myself, but I checked myself because of that. Because I put myself in comparison to them, not in a bad way, but in a way like, you know what, they're like the standard that I want to strive for. And like, I'm so grateful for being given this opportunity to return, especially with these 3 sisters, because it's like me revitalizing myself once again. Like I was last time, like, this was me kind of rekindling that like that spirit within me, my heart, my passion for this movement and for like, you know, true father and true mother, and like helping them like bring about, you know, a peaceful, ideal world, as cliche as it sounds, you know, and it starts from within ourselves. And if we can't recognize that within ourselves, how are we expected to bring change? Right? So, yeah, when I was last there, I gave a testimony. It's on video, and it's online if you guys want to see it, my last time I was there. And I gave a testimony on communication, because not speaking Spanish, being very broken in Spanish at least, my first time there, as well as this last time, I had to communicate in a way that wasn't using words. And I'm an English major, and I'm really good at writing, and I'm pretty good at talking. But the thing is, not being arrogant, the thing is though, I can get very lazy in terms of communicating with my actions. I tend to rely on my words to communicate. I want to express my love, I want to express my passion, I want to express, my affection for these sisters, but I'm so lazy, I rely on my words only. I don't take the time to communicate through my actions. And so being placed in the Dominican Republic last year and then, last week for 2 weeks, I had to revert back to communicating through my actions, to show my love, to express myself, not through my words, not through my tongue, which makes me so lazy, but through my actions, through my heart, and through my movements, right? And it's just like, it's so beautiful. I love it so much, and I just feel reinvigorated, and I just feel so alive coming back. And I know it's so lame that I have to go to a country 4,000 miles away to be realigned, but you know what? That's what it takes once a year. I'm gonna do it. I don't even care. I'm gonna do what it takes, right?
Okay.
Yeah, because it kind of ties into what I started.
All right. Well, so I think this is the part where we talk about what we've gained. Not really sure. So mine is pretty much half of what you just said right now. Looking at the way everybody is being so active in their community and just in themselves, working to develop themselves, makes me realize that we're in a very passive state. Especially me, like a passive state of love and a passive state of faith. So oftentimes we use oh, Mom, I love you. Oh, Dad, I love you. Oh, thanks for everything, but it's words. And so, so just working to put that love into something else. Oh, I'll do the dishes tonight. Oh, garden. We don't have a garden. Stuff like that. Because I saw that a lot down there. Even just them taking care of the church center, but also the brothers. So it's kind of a little sketchy environment there, right? Which is why they wanted to escort us everywhere. They knew we were a little wild, so they tried to keep us in check. So basically, we're walking down the sidewalk, and almost every single time, maybe once or twice they didn't do this, but other than that, without fail, the brothers walk on the outside of the sidewalk, right? Or they split up instead of hanging out together. One goes in the front, one goes in the back, just to make sure if anything happens, they're there. And that was such, we miss them a lot. But that was such an act of, just everyday, really casual act of love that we really received. Yeah, security force. But I think there was a big moment. We all took two brothers and one of the sisters whose birthday it was. We took them out to the beach with us and paid for their transportation. And so we're out at the beach and we're kind of walking back from swimming and all the sun and food, and walking back, and basically we see this house, but it's got a straw roof and there's a flame on it. And so at first we're oh, it looks like they're taking care of it, it's going out. But then you see that the flames are getting higher, it's not under control. And I think all of us, we were just so stunned. We were what's going on? Oh my God! And the first thing you do is you pray. Please let this get under control. Please let this not get worse, right? These Dominicans, two brothers and a sister, immediately drop all their stuff and run towards the fire. Wow. And it was amazing. It was an instant reaction. And I'm looking at Sunny, so I'm gonna cry. Yeah, but they instantly ran, and it's kind of we did nothing. Even though we can't speak Spanish or anything, we understood what was going on, and we could have done something. But so that was super inspiring for me, and I want to apply that because, just as a passive act of love or a passive act of faith or anything, it's not really enough to move forward or to build anything, especially if you're trying to build a friendship or a relationship or whatever. or even like a foundation for something. And so that's pretty much what I did, was just try and be more active in my actions, be more instinctual towards that instead of stepping back and being like, I'm a girl, I'm a foreigner, I'm a gringo, I can't do that. You know, like it's an excuse, and it's not worth it.
Yeah, I guess just overall, it was just a very beautiful experience. We have a video to show you guys to kind of top off everything that we did. But I'm just beyond grateful for this opportunity to be away for 2 weeks, get out of the country with these 3 beautiful girls that have placed so much trust in me. By the way, I spent 2 months studying Spanish, 3 hours a night. It still wasn't good enough, but like I invested and I tried. But I guess like I'm just so grateful for our protection overall. Like we honestly went in there, and if you kind of look at it, it was like a really bad idea. A bad idea. Like 4 girls, 4 gringos. We're very beautiful, and we're going all alone without any brothers, without any protection. We don't speak the language. None of us do. We're planning on traveling. We went pretty much around the country. We went around the country, went across the country, and then to the side by ourselves with some friends. And it's just like overall, it could be a very dangerous experience. It's the 7th most dangerous country in the world right now. Yes. So it is fairly dangerous. We didn't feel that way, but I feel honestly it was because it was God's protection and just the planning and the working towards this experience all went so smooth, and so I felt like it was really God-given. Like God wanted to send us to the Dominican Republic. Everything was so smooth in transition, getting everything worked out, and then while we were there, we had 0 accidents, 0 problems. We were just completely like free-spirited, and it was just a solidly beautiful experience. The only dangerous thing that happened was she fell out of her bed. the bed grew. Yeah, she fell on top of Kinasa, actually. Kinasa was sleeping on the bottom bunk, and the bed was like termite-ridden. 25 years old. It was around when Mr. Gomez, our like leader person, was young and in carp. So he was sleeping on that bunk back in the day. And so she actually fell through, and that was basically the only dangerous thing. And the only thing that happened was she got scratched in her arm. Yeah. So we were really well protected. And it's just a sign from God that He really wanted us to have this experience, and that His protection and His guidance and His blessings were with us the entire time. And I just take it as a positive sign that I need to go back, need to take more